Hey guys, Nick with NTC Golf Garage here, doing a quick live on a little repair I got coming on. A customer reached out to me. Their club heads were looking like this, like that. One had flew off already, but the other one was looking like this, a little bit off from the ferrule, not all the way on, something like that. So he asked me if this was something I could fix. It certainly is something I can fix, and I'm going to show you kind of a little bit about how we go about fixing it. So first of all, obviously I took these apart already, missed a couple steps, but I took the old ferrule off, heated everything up here, got the epoxy loose, and got both heads off. So we're doing a 5 and a 6 iron here. So these are 0.370 tips, so a little bit wider. And I'm using my laptop screen or camera here, so bear with me. But what I did was I took these 0.355 ferrules, drilled them out a little bit so they would fit. So now they fit perfectly nice over the hosel there, or the I guess the tip, and they're gonna fit nice and snug like this. So got both of these ready to go. I'm gonna tilt this down a little bit so you can see what I'm working with here. Hopefully it's easy to see or a little bit better to see. So got my Brampton 2-part epoxy A and B. Pro-Fix shafting beads or glass beads. This is going to help bond everything together so that this doesn't happen again and it sets nice and stable. Got some wipes here to wipe the access off and my mixing utensil. You can use a tea. Some guys use popsicle sticks, whatever works for you. So in this setup, it's about 50-50. It's about a little bit more than 50 with A than 50% with B. And since we're doing 2 clubs, we're going to use a good bit, but this I just eyeball. If I really wanted to get in the nitty gritty, I could get the scale out. It says 103 grams to 100 grams per use for this. So we're going to, I don't know if you can see there, we're going to squeeze that out, make it like a nice little sphere, I guess, or circle. Eyeball that and make sure you clean off all the edges there. Always put the cap back on or else it'll dry out. I don't want that. Get the B section. Make sure it's at the bottom so it doesn't happen what we did the first time. And go a little bit beside it. Move this out of the way. So it gives it some room to just measure side by side. And that's about 50-50, a little bit less B than A. If it's 50-50 exactly, I mean, it's going to work out just fine. Cap on that. So we'll give this a mix, make sure these bond together. Looks like the B is a little bit more than the A, but it'll be just fine. I like to turn my section here to get it mixed thoroughly so both sides get to both ends. You'll see with this specific brand of epoxy, it turns like a little bit of a pasty, like clear / white. And this is the quick cure time. So once it's properly mixed, I got about 10 minutes till it starts to cure up. So you'll see a little bit later on how I utilize that or how we set that up for success so that we can get all the alignment correct and all those things that go along with it. So once this is done pretty nicely, you can tell both sides are mixed together. We have a nice consistency here. I'm going to lay that down, and this is when the shafting beads come into play. I guess these aren't shafting beads, this is the glass beads. So glass beads are a little bit finer than shafting beads. Shafting beads are going to be a little bigger and heavier, but to each his own, whatever you'd like. So we're going to put this on probably a good decent amount. I mean, you don't want to go crazy with it, but you don't want to be a little short either. The more you have, the better it's going to set itself in the hosel there. So you want to stir this up. Don't freaking make a mess. You have glass beads all over the place. So go easy on this. But once you have it folded in, you'll be good to go. Just at the same time, be aware of how much time you're taking mixing everything together. Because again, this is a quick set time. It's 10-minute cure or 10-minute set, an hour cure. So I usually like to give it a little more than an hour because it's a little chilly in here. At 70 degrees, it's probably an hour, but considering it's probably 50s in here, it's gonna take a little longer than that. But yeah, we have a nice smooth consistency white there, so that's perfect. So first thing I'm gonna do Move this up a little bit. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take the ferrule off, and I'm going to put a little bit on the ferrule. Some people don't like to do it. I think it's good just to make sure it sits so the ferrule, you don't get any ferrule creep. So just a little tiny bit there, barely anything, and just coat the inside just a little bit. Just enough to get something on there. And then we're going to slide that on. Probably should have put more on the skinnier end here, but let's get that on a little bit and then put that on there. Not the end of the world. So put it on just a little bit so that whenever this seeds onto there, it'll push it the rest of the way down. So I cleared this out. I don't know if you can really see in there very well just because of the angle, but I cleaned all that out. Get a good healthy amount on there. And you want to get that, make sure, I like to let it drip in there so it gets down to the bottom, even though it doesn't really want to. So we're just going to go ahead and get in there. Mix it all around in there. Get the sides, coat it. You want to get every little bit because the problem with this beforehand, when they popped off, there wasn't much epoxy on them. So we want to make sure we have enough. And considering we're not doing any kind of swing weighting for this customer today. There's no weight plugs in the tip, so all the access will go right up into the shaft. So you can be very generous with the amount of epoxy you use here. And then once that's all set, just the tip, gonna get that a little bit on there. You don't have to do this, but I'm a little bit different. I like to take my utensil and spread it on evenly as much as I possibly can. Again, you don't have to do this. It's just kind of a pet peeve I have. And to me, it makes me feel like it's all evenly coated on there. Nice. Then we're going to just get it on there and make sure you twist. This is important. Twist it as you go on. It gets those beads set in there really nicely. Push it all the way in. Keep spinning it a little bit. Once you're all set there, clean up the edge a little bit with your towel. Moving the towel as you turn so you don't just smear it everywhere. So that looks pretty good there. I'm going to give it a couple taps on the ground to make sure it's seated all the way in there. You don't got to tap it too hard. Just make sure it's in there nice. Going to visually inspect it for any more glue. We have a little bit on the ferrule at the bottom, so we're going to clean that up. Make sure that's nice and clean there. And actually, a nice little benefit, since these are 0.370 tips, the ferrule sets in there really nicely, so there's no ferrule turning needed here because this is nice and smooth. Normally on a 355, this ferrule is going to be a little bit bigger, and we take it over to the belt sander and we get this ferrule turned down so it's a nice smooth transition. But now with this one, it's already nice and smooth, so that's awesome. So we're going to let this sit for a minute or two, but before we're all said and done, we're going to align the logo to make sure this is all perfectly aligned square. So I'm going to set that off to the side for now because we've got a couple minutes until that's ready to go, or until that cures up a little bit. Same process with this. So it goes a little bit faster. I'm not going to talk through it as much considering we just did the one before. So that's a little bit a lot. On this side this time. Try to do better with my camera awareness. I can already tell this is gelling up just a little bit, so make sure you work fast if you're going to do a quick cure epoxy. They do make longer cure times if you're working with multiple clubs, so just be aware if you're doing this at home or whatever. Make sure you get the appropriate, or use the appropriate kind for what kind of job you're doing. Again, twisting it as it goes on to get that seated in there nice. wipe off the access. Oh, make sure you watch what you're doing so you don't get epoxy all over yourself. That's all set there. We'll inspect it. Looks like we still got a little bit left. If you really have, if it's starting to gel up on you before you get it all wiped off, you could always get some acetone and go over it very lightly with very light acetone. It'll pick that right up. There we go. So, all right, that's all cleaned up nicely. So I'm gonna try to adjust the camera here. You can kind of see what I'm doing. But our customer wants the logo up in alignment with the face, so we're gonna, it's still working a little bit, it's a little soft, so we gotta wait a minute or two. Normally what I do is I set a timer for like 5 to 6, 7 minutes once that's all done. And then once that's off, or once the timer goes off, it'll set up pretty hard and it'll barely be able to move it. That's when you want to go over it and use like a nice little square block. I have over there a nice wooden square block, so you can line that up with the block and make sure you look down. Key there, get the line or the bounce, the bottom of the club flat on the ground, and then look down the line sight. Make sure the logo is lined up so that when you get that lined up, it's nice and square. And then the customer likes it that way, so it'll dry that way. And make sure you set it nice and stable. Don't touch it after you've already aligned it, or else it could move a little bit, and then you have to restart this whole process over again. So clean up is just take care of your tool, wipe it off. Make sure you dispose of your epoxy, and you're all set. So appreciate Mike for reaching out and utilizing myself at NTC Golf Garage. If anyone else wants to reach out, at ntcgolfgarage@gmail.com, you can shoot me an email or leave a comment on this video and we can hook you up. We do ship things out if need be, and we'll work with you the best I can. So thanks for watching, and like, share, subscribe. And if you want to see any other videos, leave them